Good morning, my name is Brian Johnston, and today I would like to talk about an advanced use of bosuns lines, Fibonacci, and the relationships and possible entries for you to think about. As this is a slightly more advanced thing, I want to talk about the great trader Doji, who used Fibonacci, and basically he used the monthly for the overall trend, as I've explained before, and simply by placing the Fibonacci on these 2 points, he would use the cross on the monthly as 61.8 going down. It would be a change of direction of the overall trend. 61.8. You saw how I use the square on the normal one here to determine his change of trend. His original trend was to enter at 23.6 using the monthly. So this was just to say what the overall trend is. Now if we go to the H4, and here are the bosuns weekly and the bosuns monthly, the close, the open, etc. Because I want to talk on the opening and close as per Trader Forex for fun, new development of the dashboard, or the Zero and his new additions. So it's an overall discussion. So using the close price, the break at the close for the day would see another major uptrend of the Australian dollar. Once again, we're talking the Australian dollar. You can see the relationships between the bosun lines, where it is touched, come down, and retracing back. So the bosun's lines are very accurate. But let's look at the support and resistance of bosun's lines, and you can see it by reducing your view down into an area that you can see the various support and resistance lines. So they're not exactly the same as bosuns, but I can understand why people use them both together. So we're coming back and looking at the Fibonacci and then the relationship between that and some entry possibilities, the close. You can see why each of these things are quite relevant. If we apply the Fibonacci into the square top of the 48 or to the bosun, we want to establish the 23.6. So for this purpose we'll use the H4 and just go down here, and you can see the relationship is pretty close to the closing price of the 23.6 point on a 4-hour chart. You can run it between the 2 bosun lines, and you can see that relationship is almost very, very close to an ideal entry point using Doji's 23.6. I mentioned Doji because he is a great trader that trades all commodities, including gold and silver, and he uses his 23.6 as an entry and the 61.8 as a change of direction of that downtrend. Okay, so you've seen the relationship here. Let's look at the basket, and you can see really the downtrend change using the 23.6 comes close to the bosun line once again, and that it confirms an uptrend in the basket and the hedge. I did the same using the Fibonacci and the square as these points, and you can see obviously you see the relationship of the close price of Friday and the 23.6. It's not surprising that a lot of traders use a Fibonacci, and so some points are very, very close. So the close of Friday has a relevant factor in the spreadsheet. As you noticed in the spreadsheet, the timing difference of the opening and closing is now 5 pips ups, which suggests a long trend overall. This is in keeping with the basket is showing a long trend over the 5 EMA. So the actual trend of the entry point of the basket for the 40 currencies is close to the bosuns line weekly as well, and the 23.6 as a long entry for all the baskets. And of course the hedge is similar. So we come back to the idea of including in these the closing price, which we are going to obtain from here, hopefully Trader X for fun, and Friday's close price, which all come close to the 23.6 pip point expressed on here. The actual point is not the same as the support and resistance using on bosuns lines, but you can distinctly see the relationships between numbers, which bosun lines are mathematical numbers of the 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. The bosuns lines is based on mathematics, and both come similar to the weekly and monthly open and close. You can see the close price from yesterday. The trend is down, and until that 23.6 or that was the open, the close is broken, then the trend is confirmed as change. So it's an ideal entry point if you're confident to use the 23.6. Of course, as I mentioned, Doji uses this very, very accurately on the monthly and also coming down into time frames. So you can use the 23.6 using the square, either square, depending on whether you're scalping or trading long. And this is just another means of using the square. So we can look at the square using just the square and a Fibonacci, and I'm just showing you various ways to apply the Fibonacci and to the square on that time frame, just using the square, that's the existing square. You come to 23.6. We'll go back here and once again apply the square here in between these 2 points, and you can see the 61.8 that I was talking about. When it breaches the 61.8, it's so if you're trading short term in between these 2 points, you can use the Fibonacci in a similar way. The relationship between the Fibonacci and bosuns lines are very clear, except when you go down to look at the support and resistance, then you realize that they are slightly a different mathematical calculation, and we're using that as an accurate figure, and we're using the close of yesterday, and you can see that 2 pip, it's going up and down. The other important thing I want to mention is look at Adelaide time, 11:30 till 1:30 in the night before the rollover for 0 here. It went 0 last night. 1:30 between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. You'll have to convert that to your times. Adelaide time, Australia. Quite often this will return, the price will return to zero. This is a very, very important point in looking at trend changes and everything. That is why we are looking at doing it on here on Trade FX for funds. Great contribution here, which is looking at putting the closing price, and you saw that on the chart of yesterday's closing price, as a long or a short on here. Also on the weekly's close, the price often returns during the week to the weekly close price, as you saw on the here. The range, we have to re-update that, so you can see where Navigator, and we're updating our Excel chart, and we wait for these four to all confirm, as it's still running here. That's how I saw it was running, just straight there. You can see them all going there. It's waiting for the hourly update. It's successfully exported on 4. It's still going. We want it to go back to 0. Okay, no update required. Okay, basically that's all as a quick brief introduction to the relationships and the entry points that you can use using Fibonacci and bosuns lines together, using the square, for putting on your Fibonacci in the longer term time frame, and we're just clicking that back using your Fibonacci and then applying it to your square. It's a bit too big, and down to there. Wait a minute, we'll do it again for you, for those. What happened to this? We missed the top one. Okay, it's just a matter of readjusting, but for this program I think this covers the relationship between these two, the bosuns weekly and monthly lines, the square 48, putting on a Fibonacci and using the 23.6 as a crossover point and entering your buy. You notice I put a buy on just above there. It helps, it's a limit order, it's being put on though, I put it on, and if it crosses over there we got another long. You can see the relationship of the Fibonacci and the 23.6, and you can certainly put your Fibonacci in straight on over those points. Okay, that's just a quick introduction using the closing price of yesterday as a means of using it, putting a Fibonacci on, using the 23.6 as an entry point, or getting out of a trade at 61.8, change of direction, and the relationships between the two Fibonacci and the square, the close price of yesterday and Friday's close. That's about all. Bye for now. I hope that gives you some idea of the use of Fibonacci and bosun lines and the relationship of the two. Bye for now from Brian. God bless you.